Alright, this is a video about unboxing the new Waterbox 30 Classic. As you can see, it comes in a really nice crate. Actually, it was shrink wrapped, and the Echo 264, the Echo Plus pump, actually came with this Waterbox. I think the price on the whole unit is about $3.99 retail. I bought this from Fish Tanks Direct. Friends with the owner, John. Probably the best place around for buying any kind of hardware or fish tanks and what have you. In fact, I bought my Red Sea Max. This is a Red Sea Reefer 350. It's a pretty new tank. There's some growth in there. It's really healthy. But the reason I bought the Waterbox is because I got back into the hobby after my cat and my dog passed away, and I've always had aquariums and reef tanks, and this is what I started with. The initial goal was to get the reefer and then have this as like a quarantine, and the Coralife Biocube was actually priced so well that it would be the perfect starter tank or quarantine tank or pretty much anything you want to use it for. In this particular case, I bought the tank and it had the hood. This is the 32 Biocube LED. For the price, you just can't beat it. The problem that I had is I don't have room, as you can see, to put a chiller. I didn't really want to buy a stand for a quarantine tank, so I used an existing cabinet that we have here where I keep my pool table, and I figured I'd just put it on top of that. The problem is that when the hood's on, the temperatures get out of control. So it's fine for fish only, but if you're going to keep LPS or any kind of corals, you really want to have something that keeps the temperatures down below 79 degrees. So what I did was I removed the hood, and which was the perfect solution, and I added a Kessel light, and I got rid of the LEDs. The problem there also was the white lights that come with the Coralife LED Biocube. There's just too much white, and the corals really didn't respond to it very well. So once I replaced that, put the Kessel and took the hood off, you can see the tank pretty much stays at 78 degrees. I don't know if you can see that. And that's actually kind of warm. Normally it's right around 77.8, and my reefer, it usually stays right around a degree higher, and it's just because there's more lights, more intense lighting, and a lot more water. But this tank is probably the healthiest aquarium I've ever had. I mean, this thing is only literally 5 months old. I started out with Carib Sea rock, some Carib Sea live sand, and if you can see there, the LPS, the zoanthids that I've got at the top, that batch of clementines, there was only 5 or 6 polyps on that when I started. This piece of this GSP here, rather, is it was just a little tiny piece, and you know, I shouldn't have put it on the rock, but I really like star polyp, and in a tank that doesn't have a lot of expensive corals, it just makes it look real nice. So I put it on the rock because that's my preference, and it's going crazy. And I don't have a protein skimmer. I don't have anything special. I don't really dose this other than using the amino acids, the reef fuel. I got a couple of little hydro heads in there to keep the water moving. The problem is, though, the reason I got the Waterbox is the appearance. I mean, this is a great tank if you like the hood and you've got a chiller and you want to keep the temperatures down, but if you don't have expensive corals or you don't plan to put expensive corals, then you can get away with the hood. So I got rid of it. I took the hood off. The tank is just super healthy, but I'm just not happy with the appearance of that black rim. And to take it off, you've probably seen the videos. I mean, you got to drain the tank. You got to pretty much chisel that black ring off, and you know, I don't want to kill everything in doing so. So what I'm going to do, since I don't use a chiller, I don't use a protein skimmer, I change 5 gallons of water every week on this tank. And I use usually the Red Sea Coral Pro. I'm going to probably switch back to the Fritz salt because I don't have any residue issues with it, and it is pretty much spot on. Every time I mix it, everything is, the parameters are all the same. So with that, aside from adding a little bit of refuel once or twice a week and regular water changes, without a protein skimmer, without really any other biological filtration aside from having, you know, a polyfilter that's stuffed down in the back there. You probably can't see it. But other than that, this tank has been, I mean, crazy healthy. So I keep a few fish. I've got, you know, 3 different kinds of polyps. I've got some Recordia. I'll take it around this side and you can see I've got the different zoas there, more zoas down here, and more zoas over here. And this Carib Sea rock at this point is pretty much live rock. No fatalities with the fish. I've seen pods in here, so this mandarin is just doing great. It's, you know, it's been in there a few months, which, you know, for a lot of you guys, that's nothing. I know you reefers have had your stuff for years and years, but I used to, and now I'm back in the hobby again, and this is just going to be the basics. So what I'm going to do with this tank is, a friend of mine, his kids want to start a small saltwater aquarium, and it's going to end up with him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace it with the Waterbox. It's going to be a little bit not as deep, so it'll fit on this cabinet a little better. You see there's a little bit of an overhang. The Waterbox is going to be wider, and it's going to be, you know, not as deep on this wall, so that way it's probably going to fit better when I shoot pool. I won't hit it with a cue stick. And I like the appearance. It is an all-in-one tank. The price is right. I'm just going to transfer over. I've got a little heater there. I usually don't need it. Every now and then it gets a little chilly in here, and I might have to raise the temperature 1 degree. Aside from moving those 2 high door heads and that Kessel and maybe a piece of polyfilter, that's pretty much it. I'm going to put this rock all into some buckets. I'm going to keep the water, hopefully keeping my biological filtration, and hopefully we'll have the same success. So while I set the camera up, I'm going to pause, and then we'll get into unboxing the new Waterbox. Okay. I'm not real good with these videos and splicing and what have you. I'll figure it all out. So let's get into unboxing this, because the reason I'm doing this video is because I wanted to look up an unboxing video and see what Waterbox had to offer, and well, there really isn't anything. There's a couple of videos online that discuss, you know, what Waterbox looks like, and a couple of shows, but really nothing about what's inside this crate. So first of all, we've got this Echo 264 submersible pump. This is pretty much going to run everything except for my high door heads. The 264, let's see, it looks like it puts out 290 gallons per hour, which is plenty for the 30-gallon tank. It's pretty small. We'll crack it open here real quick, see what comes in the box. And this is actually a really good pump, and I've got one actually in the reefer I use to power up a reactor. I've got a carbon reactor in there to keep the water kind of clean. And I run it most of the time. I know you're not supposed to, but with carbon and having a reef and all, but I run it, and I don't run a high pressure, just kind of a drip, and it works fine. I mean, it's a quiet pump. You can hear it's pretty quiet in here. By the way, excuse the house. This is my laundry table right now as well as my pool table. But there you go. Pretty simple, pretty basic, quiet suction cups, and lots of different adapters for your hoses and what have you. So we'll put that aside. And let's hope the battery doesn't die on the GoPro. But you can see the crate. I mean, I've got this on wheels. But this crate is it's pretty amazing. It got shipped kind of like my Red Sea. The Red Sea got shipped in an awesome box. Everything was packaged down inside of it. And basically, from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of things that have been copied. But you know what? I mean, that's what happens. Look at the car industry. Everybody copies one another when you've got something that's successful. So it looks like we've got 6 clamps and our Phillips screws. And I can pretty much guarantee you that this thing is going to be intact and pretty well packaged, but I guess if it's not, this video won't make it online. And just bear with me while I roll it forward so I can get to these last two. And the last one. So what I did was, actually John at Fish Tanks Direct, I mean, he'll ship this stuff to you, but I mean, I just pull up to his back door. He's down in Venice, and I'm pretty fortunate living in the Sarasota, Bradenton area. He's really convenient for me. So, you know, a company that big that does that much online business, I know when I was a kid, I used to buy everything from That Fish Place, which was a huge company up in Maryland, in Pennsylvania rather, and I could drive up there, and I felt fortunate enough to be able to go to these large places that were local. So for me, Venice is local. And John just forklifts it right under the back of my truck, which he did with the red C-Max that weighed a ton. So here we go. All right. So obviously it's a pretty well insulated box. These pop off pretty easily. I'm going to say that the box and the pallet kind of material that it comes with is probably the majority of the weight on this thing. It's just pretty hefty stuff. And let's go around. You really don't need any tools for this. The last thing you want to do is wheel the hammer around a glass aquarium. And you can see, I guess, kind of universal for Waterbox. You can use these panels inside, outside, whatever. All right. I guess you can see, there's even more insulation here. You've got more padding. All right. So here we have, it's pretty much wrapped. I mean, my red C-Max didn't have this plastic wrap around it, but it's pretty much packaged the same way. So we'll get into this and see what comes with the all-in-one. And they call this this is the 30 standard, or I'm sorry, 30 classic all-in-one. And for under 400 bucks, really, I don't see how. I mean, I guess it's really kind of hard to screw something up that's as simple as aquariums are these days. But the sump is in the back. There you go. You've got the water box. It's got the covers for each side of the sump. I did a little bit of research. This side is where your filter sock goes. I can tell you the first thing I'll do right away is I'll get rid of this felt and I'll go with a mesh, a nylon mesh, because I've experienced with my Red Sea that these things get filthy quick and clog really fast. So you've got an overflow on this side for your mechanical, actually your filter sock. And you can see this says Waterbox. This is pretty nice. I'm not really sure what the actual water volume is outside of the overflow box. But with the cube, I can tell you that it's a 32-gallon cube, and 25 gallons of it is display area. So, I mean, based on what I'm seeing here from my experience, I've had a lot of aquariums. It looks about the size of a 20-gallon tank, maybe a 25 tall. That's just basically what I could be wrong. It could be a real 30 plus whatever's in the sump. I should have done a little more research, but that's okay. I can just tell you based on what I see already that it's It's got the wider footprint, which is what I wanted. The things fit nicely on that counter the way I wanted it. Here's another thing that I heard about and that I found. Waterbox actually laser etches their name into the glass. Really nice. Really classy looking. You've got a standard return. I'm sure that there's going to be different kinds of heads in here, but we'll see. But there you go. This is, and from what I read, you've got a carbon area. This is a ceramic circle area. And of course, this is a mechanical filter, and this is your biological foam filters. I haven't used this kind of media in a long time, but I know it's got a lot of surface area, which is great for bacteria. Plenty of places for it to grow, plenty of places for it to live. And this is actually way, way, way nicer than what comes with the cube. And the cube is, what, between $250 and $300? So I'm thinking for this plexiglass case that you get with both mechanical, biological, you've got biological ceramic walls, and you've got a nice little zippered carbon bag, all your filtration's covered. And if you're religious like I am with water changes, there's really no need to, I mean, I can see right now there's a ton of space, which is the other problem that I had with that. If I ever did want to put a protein skimmer in that tank, it would have to hang on the back. There's no room for that. Or you'd have to put a separate pump in there somewhere to pump it out, or find one of those miniature protein skimmers that really don't work that well. You know, I've heard mixed reviews. Just for the way it's been working, there's no need to buy a protein skimmer. But in this actual tank, there is room. And I can tell you all the mini protein skimmers that I looked at that wouldn't fit in the cube would definitely 100% fit inside this. There is a chamber actually on this side of the tank, which I saw in the instructions that I was reading before I ordered this, where your pump goes. There's already hose connected. I mean, this is as simple as it gets. You've got a chamber for a protein skimmer. You just hook up your pump, plug it into this hose. I guess this is directional. I saw something online that maybe somebody added a different kind of head to change the directions of this. And of course your Waterbox user manual. I gotta say, folks, I mean, all of this is real nice plexiglass. This is beautiful glass with the laser etched Waterbox. FishTanksDirect.com, I gotta tell you, John, the owner, is a class act, the nicest guy I've ever met. I don't think he's got a sour bone in his body. So if you're gonna make a purchase and you want something drop shipped, or if you live nearby, or you know, you want to come to Florida and do some fishing and pick up your fish tank, just check with John. I'm not like tied to that company. It's just he's been an amazing person to do business with, and you know, I have a lot of experience in sales, and I got to tell you, that's who I want to deal with when I buy something new. Oh, I almost forgot. Under the tank, I don't know if you can see this, but I'll show you. There's a black mat that is a rubber leveling mat that comes with the Waterbox. That didn't come with the Biocube. You know, for a difference of $100 or so, I'm going to tell you right now,